Welcome back to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. So listen, I am super excited to be bringing you this video. I kind of like these talkovers. It's a fun way for me to revisit some of my earlier, more successful videos. And it's also a way to see, like, 3 years later, what are my thoughts? Is it still, what I'm thinking? It's what I thought back then. How relevant is it still today? And is there anything else that I would add? So today I am reviewing my basic home care startup cost 2020 video. So this video has done pretty well. And so I thought it would be nice to revisit this one. I definitely think it would be a value add, especially because I have been getting a lot of questions about startup. What does that cost structure look like? And all of those things if you're interested in starting your non-medical home care agency. So if that's something that you're interested in, and I hope it is, then stay tuned. Okay, so we are going to transition to the actual content. First thoughts, I am just laughing at how my office has evolved from 3 years ago, but also how I have learned to play with lighting because I look really orange in this video, but that's besides the point. Let's get to the content. Last week we talked about how do you start a home care agency, what are the costs associated with starting that home care agency. Lots of information to unpack here, guys. To make this a little bit easier, I have broken down the costs into 4 categories. The first category we're going to start with are your licensing costs. Now, anyone who is associated with your organization, whether you're an owner or an employee, all of us have to go through background checks. The background check cost that we paid was $65. Second licensing cost that we had to illustrate that we had was general and professional liability insurance. Now, I am not... So I do want to stop just really quick at the background check. This is something that I wanted to discuss really quickly because sometimes I get the question, well, do I have to send it in? And the answer to that is no. So what I will do is make sure that the California Department of Social Services, that link is here on the screen. The reason why I say that whole background process is actually discussed in length. So I will make sure that is linked as well, or is provided as a resource for you as well. But once you submit that background, once you do your fingerprints and things of that nature, all of that goes into the database. And so the Department of Social Services will be able to go in and retrieve those results from that. So I just wanted to make that very clear. I'm an insurance agent. I'm definitely not trying to sell anything here. I'm merely just trying to explain to you my experience to help you in making a decision for your business and to see what the costs are for that business. I just wanted to clear that up. I will give you a small definition, but please make sure you pull up and do a little bit of research on your side. Just make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into with this policy. However, I can tell you the general insurance piece of it is more for the physical coverage. So if you think of any bodily injury or actual property damages, or the errors that can happen that are associated with the services that we provide. Our workman's comp policy was $1,313. The other licensing expense that we had to incur was a surety bond. And again, this is just another way to protect your clients based on the staff you have coming into their homes. The amount that we paid was for $208, and the term of that bond is 1 year. So really quickly, I do want to go back to the insurance piece of it. So I always recommend, typically when you go through this process, it's going to take anywhere from 2, 3, 4, even 6 months to actually go through. And I've actually seen it take longer than that. And so with that being said, yes, you want to go ahead and do your research on the insurance. Yes, you want to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck, right? Everyone should shop policies and make sure that they're getting the best quote, right? I would not bind that insurance until I am in the process of submitting my licensing packet. The reason why I say that is because you don't want to go months paying on a policy that you're not even utilizing. So the licensing requirements does call for the policy to be active. However, I wouldn't bind it. I just want to make sure I'm being clear here. I wouldn't bind it or put that policy into effect until I am getting ready to submit that licensing. It will save you a little bit of money. And so that when you're ready, because you've already done your homework, you're ready to just call that agent back and go ahead and get that policy started. So I just wanted to throw that in there. By far, the biggest licensing expense is the application for licensure. Now, again, this cost is going to vary based on state. Some states that cost is free. I was seeking my license in California. The cost of the license for the state of California was $5,603. And once you are licensed, that license is good for 2 years. So I just want to stop it here. That fee has not changed. It is still $5,603. And as I said in the video, that license is actually good for 2 years. The second cost, or the second category of costs that we're going to discuss, are your business costs. So the first is registering your business for the state that you live in. Now again, I live in California. A lot of times people will utilize different services to get your business registered. For me, I use LegalZoom. Another business expense you're going to incur is registering your business with your state for tax purposes. Now you have to register your business within a certain time frame. I will go ahead and make sure that's listed in the video for you, but that cost for the first year is $800. At some point, you want to have a website so that you can direct your potential clients to. I do want to stop and go back for one thing that I mentioned with the LegalZoom. So remember, there are other entities out there. I will definitely list a couple for you. I did go to LegalZoom. I remember when I initially published this video, I had people in the comments saying, oh, well, you know, this is something you can do on your own. You can save yourself some money. So absolutely, I encourage everyone to look into that. You know, for me, I just don't know that much about it. So I do let LegalZoom do what they do, and I'm willing to pay them for it. The one item that I did want to share with a separate cost will be putting together, you know, because the state is going to want to see how you structured your document. And as a result of that structure, then they want to see your articles of incorporation, your partnership agreement, whatever that document is, to show how you will operate your entity. I like to speak to this because, again, you can have LegalZoom take care of that for you at a fee. Or if you subscribe to a Rocket Lawyer or, you know, things of that nature, that's something that you would actually be able to create on your own. So I do always like to point that out, just because it is a way for you to save money. And so look into that. Rocket Lawyer, you can create your own, you know, articles, you know, your own partnership agreement, your own operating agreement there, because that is part of the licensing process. Someone to showcase who you are as a business, what services do you provide, and what sets you apart from the rest of your competitors. You got to have somewhere to send them. So the website cost for us was $404. The third category of costs that I have today are the ongoing costs. So before I continue the video with the ongoing costs, I do want to talk about the website. And even listening to myself say that $400. Listen, there are so many, you know, there are so many providers and apps of you creating your own websites. Of course, you can go to your GoDaddies. Even I think Wix comes to mind. So there are several places that you can go. I always say you want to use the website builder that meets your needs. Like if you literally just need something that you can stand up really quickly, that you can get out, you know, that you can get out to, so people can come and book some time with you, get to see a little bit of you, then there's no use in spending all of this money. Like I'll never forget when I initially started in this business, I thought I wanted this beautiful website and I needed all the bells and whistles, and I reached out to a company. They gave me a beautiful presentation, but that presentation came with a price tag of $10,000. I thought, wow, that makes no sense to me. Even today, I wouldn't spend $10,000 on a website. So you want to just kind of take into consideration, what do you need, how much you're willing to pay for it, which this should be a cost that you are considering when you do your business plan, and really go from there. I would say when you initially start business, you need something to showcase what you're about, who you are, and how to contact you. And so you don't want to get carried away, because again, those are the basics of you providing that service. And then as your business grows, as your services come together, and as who you are as a business, as a brand comes together, then of course you build on that foundation. So I just kind of wanted to share that. Now again, this is going to depend on your state and also your preference. So it's going to depend on the state that you live in and what you prefer to do, how you run your business. The first ongoing expense that you should consider is rent. And so for us, we do operate out of an actual rental office, and we pay $650 per month. The second expense that we have for ongoing is just as I'm laughing at that $650 because it has definitely gone up since since this video has published. But I just wanted to bring to mind, remember, you have a decision to make here. If you want to operate from home, of course that will be cheaper. The only caveat that I want to bring to your attention is that, remember, whatever area you have designated, whether it's an at-home office, a converted garage, maybe a second room, you just want to make sure that this business, that office, that home office, is dedicated to your business. Okay, so if an auditor were to come in and look at this office space, they know it's an actual office space and not just a storage room, right? And that there's restricted access. Remember, you have confidential information in there. You have files, you have people's information. So you want to make sure that it's restricted. So, not everyone has access to it. And even if your cabinet is a locking cabinet, just to further, safe proof the information that you would have. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind. You have people's information. How can you protect it? And then if somebody were to come in and audit you, how can you show that this is a professional environment, a professional space that you have set aside in order to conduct business? We started the professional and general liability insurance, or pay the monthly installment of $156 per month. The last category of costs that I have are just costs that you should consider. So the first cost that we had was Rocket Lawyer. Now, Rocket Lawyer is for your professional documents, your service contracts, your hiring letters, your offer letters, things of that nature. I think we paid that expense for 2 or 3 months before we felt confident that we had all the documents that we needed for our business. Second cost that you want to consider are your marketing costs. And again, this will fluctuate based on your marketing needs and your marketing plan. I don't recall off the top of my head, so I'll make sure to put it in the video. Business cards, and also the cost for your flyers, because you certainly want to spread around town as soon as you're able and as soon as you're licensed. You definitely want to spread the word that you are open for business. Another cost to consider are your office expenses, your office costs. So, are you going to have a laptop in your office? Are you going to have a printer? There's going to be a cost associated with paper and the ink to operate your printer. You want to think of folders for your employees that you onboard. Just making sure that you're tracking, that you're staying compliant with your regulations, and making sure you have the right documents and forms within those folders. All of those things carry small cost. Another cost that I want to alert you to is the recruiting cost. Now, if you're active on any of your social media, at any point you can post and say that you're hiring. However, if you want to go through a third party like a care.com, a monster.com, indeed.com, career builder, though looking to staff your company, you are then considered a recruiter, and you have to pay those recruiter costs. And so in the short time that I've been hiring people, that cost can go from $150 to as high as $500 per month. And again, there are some benefits to that, because whatever you're looking for, whatever qualification you're looking for, you're only being presented with those candidates that meet those qualifications. The only item that I want to add here is you want to make sure that you do have some type of budget before you create these job postings. And the reason why I say that is because depending on what your budget is, that kind of lets that job board knows, or they will tell you up front. So what will the visibility be on your actual position based on your budget? you can see out there that people will allow you to advertise free for a certain time or for a certain, it's kind of like based on what your amount is, it'll guarantee so many clicks or there's visibility amongst the job boards. So you want to make sure that you have in mind what that budget is. So for instance, I'll give you an example for me in our secondary business. I typically have a budget of $30 to $40 per day, right? And we'll see what that brings back to me. Once I see that my budget is getting up there to about $200, $250, I pause that job listing because I want to see the quality of candidates that I'm getting. By that time, I would have enough candidates for me to review their qualifications, review their experience, so I can start contacting people, because you don't have people's attention very, very long. People, especially if they're really looking, you have their attention maybe 1-2 days and then they're moving on. So you want to make sure, especially if you're paying for these, that you're being real responsive in who you're replying to and making sure that you're pulling them in to your process. So there's definitely a balance there in terms of are you getting your bang for your buck? The last cost I have for you to consider are your software costs. So when you think of a CRM, so for all of your notes for your client care, when you're thinking of your payroll systems, your timekeeping systems, your expensing payroll systems, all of those vendors, if you will, carry different costs, and depending on how big you are, you will have to take into consideration bringing on board some of those to help manage your business. And as your business grows, you will have to take that into consideration in terms of managing your business. Okay guys, I hope that information was a value add for you. I do want to announce my next webinar. It is the Staffing Your Agency webinar. I'm excited about that. This is something I actually get questions a lot from. The webinar will actually be held on July 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I always tell people you want to join the live recording, because that is where you get to ask whatever questions you have. Of course, I will post it to my website afterwards if you cannot attend that day, and of course I recap those types of things. But it's nice to be there and present at the time that it's due. So if you are interested in that type of thing, because I created the course so that it could be a one-stop shop for your hiring needs. So we really talk about everything from creating your job description to actually going through an interview guide that I have created for your use. So I'm super excited for that. Again, that video description, the link will be in the video description if you're interested, and I hope to see you there. Okay, that is all I have today. If you haven't done so already, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a new video. That's all I have for you guys today. Stay blessed.